All right. Hopefully this stream kicked off correctly. So I saw it just put the wrong title. So let me just check that real quick and then we'll get started. All right. Yeah, I did it correct. Cool. All right. So, what's up, everybody? I haven't really streamed too much lately, but I wanted to throw something together because we got this new challenge that TTrades has kicked off in his Discord. So I took a look at it, and I've been playing it pretty low key lately, just trying to hone my strategy a little bit after getting my XFA and having a sort of up and down month. But I took a look at it and I was like, you know what? This will probably be good for me right now. I need to get back to basics a little bit and hopefully get some nice momentum going with the XFA. It's basically break even right now. I think I'm up like $2 or something after so much random up and down action that I've had over the last month. So hopefully this will get it on the right track. And first thing I want to do is go over what the challenge is and sort of how I'm going to approach it. So here is the little sheet that I came up with. Let me disconnect this so it's not so blinding. All right. So this is in the TTrades Discord. If you are not part of the Discord, it's a free community, so just give it a Google. I think it's on his Twitter, so anyone can join, and it's just a fun little thing for the community. But basically, threw down this challenge, and here are the rules. So it's going to be one strategy. So you have to use the same strategy the whole time. One kill zone. So same kill zone. One trade per day max. So you don't have to trade every day, but if you do trade, you are only going to trade once. All right. Fixed 2R risk to reward. So your one trade, whatever your risk is, he laid out some guidelines of how to do risk. He has a video on how to properly risk, but that's not part of the rules. Like what you risk is not part of the rules. So whatever your risk is, your take profit will be 2R. All right. So it's a fixed risk trade. You're required to journal before, during, and after the trade. So this is gonna stop this habit that I have of I've been doing this lately where I know of areas that I want to look for a trade. I wait for it to get into those areas based on higher time frames kind of stuff. But then the entry itself, I drop like super low time frames and I take the first thing that I see, right? It's worked okay. But every time that it works, well, every time it works or it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter. If the idea was correct, right? So if I'm looking, if you look at this chart in the background here, if I'm wanting to see it come down into here or something again and then go back up, if that actually did happen, the entry that I take, the dropping to lower time frames and doing this crazy whatever I see kind of entry, sometimes it's great, but it's never the only way, right? There's always a way to stay in a higher time frame. Higher being 5 minute. It's not super high, but there's always a way to stay in a 5 minute and get the same kind of trade and have a little bit more patience and maybe a little more thought and consideration behind the trade. So I think this will be good for me to have to journal before. So you have to stop and say, okay, this could be a good setup, right? Could be. Let's not try to get ahead of ourselves. Let's try to consider all possibilities. Document, take screenshots, think the idea through, put it on with the risk management tool, right? The short and long tool, I forget what it's really called, but you can put the tool in TradingView and sort of visualize your trade, take a screenshot of that. So yeah, that's probably going to be the most difficult thing for me, is to stop and journal. But it's something that probably needs to happen for me to take the next step in this journey. So looking forward to it. And at the end of the day, journal the market. I used to do this every day. I haven't really lately because I don't know. I get to this point where I'm like, okay, I sort of know what I want to see for the next week or whatever. Looking at it every day. I'm looking at it throughout the day, so I already sort of know. But I think it's a good habit to build, so I'm looking forward to that too. And then the last rule is just to do it for 30 days, right? I have to ask if that's like 30 calendar days, 30 market days, 30 trading days. I didn't really see that, so I'm going to try to clarify that. But what I'm going to do is 30 trading days, I believe. Not 30 days where I take a trade. I'll say that. 30 days when I take a trade. So that could take a while. I don't really have a set time frame for when it's going to be over, but I do have a start date, which is tomorrow. So this is February 4th right now. I will start tomorrow, which is Monday, February 5th, 2024. It is the first day that we are allowed as part of this challenge to start trading. So I'll look, right? But my other rules that I'm going to go by that fit within these rules, I'm going to be trading my Top Step 50K XFA account. So this is a funded account, but it is still demo. But hopefully at the end of this, I can get a nice little payout out of it. So I'm also still going to be working on a 150K that I'm pretty close to being funded. So I'll still be trading outside of this challenge, but for this challenge, I'm just going to do the 50K XFA. I'll only be trading on the indices, NQ, ES, or YM. 99% sure I'm only going to be trading NQ, but I threw the other ones in there just in case. I saw a couple situations last week where ES or YM was probably a better idea than NQ. I haven't gotten comfortable enough with swapping around to take those, but I might within the next, 30 days that I take a trade. I might feel confident in that. So didn't want to leave it out. I will attempt to take a trade every day if I find a setup in my kill zone, right? So the whole sticking with your kill zone, sticking with one strategy thing, I think that will be really good to naturally limit my trades to something that makes sense, right? So I'll try every day that I can. There's going to be some days where I'm not able to sit down and watch the charts in the morning, but hopefully I'll be able to most days. And if I see my setup, I'll take it. Speaking of the kill zone, I will be doing the New York AM kill zone. I'm going to do it based off of how I define the kill zone in TradingView. So I have this, there's this indicator called ICT kill zone and pivots by Trade for Op. And I have the New York AM as 9:30 to noon. So I'll be going off of that. Typically I start looking before 9:30, but for this challenge I'll just stick with that. I mean, you usually can get in after 9:30, even if something presented itself before 9:30. There's usually some kind of retracement or something like that. Change of state delivery on the 5-minute. Change of state delivery on the 5-minute. I mean, it happens multiple times a day, usually multiple times a session. So I'm not really worried about lack of setups. Going into my setup, I am going to go with, I want to make sure that I'm aligned with the 1-hour structure. And I'll try to go into what that means in a chart in a little bit. But alignment with 1-hour structure, 5-minute change in state delivery. I will do my entry on the order block that is created. I'm not going to get super defined with that. A lot of times I go with the bodies, but there are times where it's like a big breaker and the breaker block is on the wick and maybe the body is further down past the breaker block. In those cases, I'll take a wick entry. It's fine. As long as it hits the order block of the 5-minute, the 5-minute order block created from the change of state delivery, that's all I really care about. Stop loss will be on the opposite side of the swing. Obviously, it's going to be a fixed 2R target, as that is the rule of the challenge. On my XFA, at the moment, my risk, I'm doing $100 risk. I'm generally pulling it to be appropriate for the setup. So, stop loss on opposite side of the swing. So I'll pull it up if it's generally less than $100. For this challenge, I might just stick with 100, 200 because it's like super easy. I already have my, it's actually Top Step X that I'm using. I already have it set up that when I enter a trade, it puts the 100, 200, and I usually adjust it. So I might stick with that. Either way, I'll do 2R. I'll do 2R because that's a challenge. Now, there's going to be a little bit of decision in if the trade is worth it. And I'll go into that a little bit in the charts. So I'll be using fib projections on the swing from the change of state delivery. And I'll have to make sure that the target, the 2R target, is before the 2 to 2.5 projection. And usually I'm looking for, like obvious levels for value gaps or highs, liquidity or imbalances, right? For projection or for targets. So as long as 2R is before where I would normally take a TP or at where I would normally take a TP, then I'm cool with it. But I will just not enter the trade if it's not, right? So if I line one up, unless it's like the fucking nuts, right? I'm generally not going to look for after 2 to 2.5. And for this challenge, let's just say I'm not going to, all right? I'll take it on the other account if I see one that's like too nice to pass up, right? So I'll show it on the charts, but we'll do fib projection. We'll see how it looks. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to trade. I'm gonna journal it in the TTrades Discord. Generally, I'm just journaling in TradeZella. My journaling is very minimal. I basically just journal the trades by entering them in, and then sometimes I go and review them. Probably should be better with it. This will hopefully get me better with that. But TTrades has set up a couple of channels, one for journaling and one for the trades. So I'll be entering all my trades and all my journals into those channels, starting with this video. I'll put a link to this stream once it's done in that journal. So those are the rules. That's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm going to do it on the XFA account. So hopefully I can pull some money from this little challenge, and should be fun either way. Now I want to get to the charts. So we're looking at a weekly NQ, and all I'm going to do right now is just set up the week like I normally do. I generally don't spend a whole lot of time doing this because there's usually just a couple things I'm looking for, right? And I just put them out there, and if price is moving that direction during the week, I know what to look for, right? So the first thing I'm looking for going into this week is this high, right? So there's actually two of them, and I don't know if I really care about that one. The previous one, this previous week high, it actually wasn't my main target last week. This 1 week fair value gap was. I wanted to see it come in here and then react off of it, and we definitely did get that. I thought we were going to take this previous week high, but obviously we didn't. So that is still my target. Definitely bullish on NQ. I don't know if it's going to do any retracement. I honestly kind of think that we're going to sweep these Monday or Tuesday, and then head back into this 1 week gap a little bit. But we'll see. Obviously, we're bullish. If this flies through these highs and keeps rolling, then we'll be looking for higher targets. There's a little bit of projection to be done here on the weekly. There's this low here we can project from, which we did get to. The that one projects up -4, -4.5 is at all-time highs, which we did take 2 weeks ago. So I really think that projection is pretty much done, I don't really care about that as much. And then the next projection we can go from is this one. And this one I think is probably still really relevant, right? So this was the retracement down we had coming into November when we just went on this crazy bull run on NQ. So this whole retracement period back into other structure here, right? So we have this like mitigation block here. Like you can see how cool this stuff was, right? So popped over it. See how these highs, these equal highs, they should got closed over here, and then it went on a retrace down into. Now this is a gigantic mitigation area, so it's like you can't really use that to just trade off of, but you would use it to look for areas within that could react, like like this, right? Something like that. We got an order block here. Anyway, getting into the weeds here a little bit. So we could use that projection, the last swing before a change in state delivery on the weekly, to project up some more targets here. So that would be something I would look for. I'm not gonna place it on there because any higher targets, I'm just gonna go with lower time frame projections. To get my, if I get an entry that's, you know, going bullish, I'm gonna use a lower time frame projection for targets. I'm not gonna just like go slap a trade and look for this -2, but I think we're heading that way. So in that case, we could see some downside first. I just don't see a world where we don't grab these highs first and then perhaps come in here and maybe we head off into some more bullish structure. So, you know, looking at something like this, maybe you see come back into this order block and then head off into some more bullish price action. I could clear up that fair value gap as well. Now we do have a lot of low resistance liquidity here, but until we have some kind of high time frame reversal, I'm not seeing these being taken. All right, so that's all I want to mark out on the weekly. I know it's a lot more than usual. I usually just mark the high and the low. But yeah, we got one extra high to look for. So on the daily, we do have, and I should mention that, we should look at the economic calendar. Where did it go? Okay. So economic calendar, the interesting thing here is that we actually have a Monday red folder news event, which is very weird. That usually doesn't happen. I'm going to go to Forex Factor just to make sure that's not a bug, because that seems weird. I actually had Chair Powell speak at 7 p.m. tonight, Sunday, which was very weird as well. But no, it's true. There's a red folder USD PMI number that's coming out on Monday. It's interesting. And then we have the Thursday news. So I'm not an expert at the economic calendar, but I think that would mean that we're going to see something sort of kind of similar to last week, which was a midweek reversal, a Thursday reversal, right? Wednesday made a low of the week. You see Monday up, Tuesday, Wednesday down into this target that we had, the 1 week fair value gap, and then a Thursday pump. This was off earnings mainly. A lot of this came like end of day. And then a NFP, this is non-farm payroll day, NFP retrace and pump, taking some highs and closing down below here. As you see, it did miss that big previous week high. I'm not going to look at SMT divergence right now. I will before trading tomorrow, but for now, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to turn off this news thing now. So we have Thursday, 8:30. That's what we really care about. So we could see something where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? We were talking about coming back into here. Thursday, Friday, right? That's a lot of movement. We'll see if that plays out. But so far, my eyes are on previous week high, these two previous week highs as the initial targets. Usually what I do is also mark out previous day low. I don't think that's in jeopardy, but I'd like to have it for reference. The fair value gaps, I don't care. We don't have any kind of like order blocks that I care about right now either, that are close, right? They're down here. So I'm not going to mark anything out. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's basically all I do for a weekly outlook. And then every morning I'll come in and see how the overnight looks. And a lot of my trading is just based off of that, really. I mean, that really is what matters. What happens in London is what matters a lot of times. But let me give you an example of the strategy that I'm going to use. I can give a really good one on NFP because NFP produced a fantastic one, right? So for NFP, we had, this is the 5-minute chart now. We had an accumulation overnight, right? London technically made high of day. But I mean, it didn't really do much, right? So it didn't take out this high. There was still stuff resting above and our bias was bullish, right? So I was a little thrown off just because I'm not super comfortable with everything yet. But in hindsight, it was clearly, after Thursday's pump, a return to bullish price action. And this should have been seen as a clear Judas swing based off news. And pump to, at least these highs, right? Coming back into discount here, right? So actually went to OTE from that last pump. So this would be the strategy, right? Bullish order flow on the higher time frame. So when I mentioned in that other thing, alignment with 1 hour structure, right? We look at the 1 hour. And the 1 hour structure, the most recent thing we had, right, was this retracement and then a return. So this was against order flow because the higher time frame, though daily, is bullish, right? Weekly is bullish. So this pullback here, I mean, this is a retracement. So that Thursday was a realignment on the 1 hour to a bullish. You come in here, it puts in another retracement, and then it realigns on the 5-minute. This is still bullish, right? Just because it put in a big candle like this, that didn't change the order flow created from Thursday, right? So you go into the 5-minute. We're coming into a discount. We have a 5-minute. So this here, if this was broken over, that would have been good. But what does it do? It makes another series of down close candles here. Actually re-sweeps. Right? Re-sweeps and closes over. This is a change in state of delivery right there. As soon as, so we got the plus OB, right? As soon as this candle, which dipped down and reswept, closed over here, the trade is on. Now this is when it's going to be a little difficult to journal before I take the trade, because as you can see, as soon as that new candle opened, it dipped into. So that would be my entry. Like I mentioned before, most times I would take the body, right? Generally like the body. Doesn't really matter that much, but then you go at the low, right? And then we're going to go for 2R, right? So is there an easy way to get 2R on here? Risk percent, 25%. That's hilarious. That'd be 1%. I'm not even going to worry about this. Is all messed up. So we're going to go 2R. So 2R would have been that. I mean, that would have closed so quick. Now, when we talk about projections, right, I would probably do this. So let's see. There's a little bit of so that's about 2R, right? I'll make sure it's exactly 2R when I'm actually doing these trades. But yeah, as you can see, so even with that really long, using that really long wick as the stop loss and going 2R, it's still, when you project out, so I'm projecting that swing here, it's still before the -2. Yeah. So the only time, let's say this wick was really long, right? Or sorry, let's say the wick wasn't that long. Say I project off of here, right? I mean, it wouldn't happen. Because the projection is going to be, I'm going to do the projection on the same low as I do my my stop loss. So it's never going to happen as long as I'm entering on the order block. I don't think it's going to be, there's going to be a case where it's after -2. But that's part of my rules for sure, is if for some reason a safe stop loss would have, I would have to put it up here past the -2 to -2.5, then I wouldn't take it. I would just pass. -2 is generally where I'm going to put my take profit. I'm usually looking for liquidity levels around there, like -2 to -2.5. I would look at this little high and say that's good, right? That would actually be 2.5. Dog, what are you doing under me? Sorry, my dog, who is gigantic, he's like 80 pounds, just went under my desk. There's not space for you, dude. All right. That's it. So that's the strategy I'm going to trade. I'm going to trade it, like I said, between 9:30. Basically, this box right here, which is the indicator for the New York kill zone, that's what I'm gonna trade. So it's got to be after 9:30, and it's got to be before lunch. And that's it. I know I droned on for a long time, but I hope you enjoyed. And good luck trading this week. Feel free to join the challenge. I think it should be fun. TTrades Discord. Look up his Twitter. I'll try to put a link in the description as well if you're interested. It's a free community, free challenge. Everything he does is free, so come check it out. All right. Have a good night. Bye.